So yeah, welcome back to the one and only dude, the Mellow experiment, dude.
Is it running?
Yeah, we're running, dude. We're back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mellow Experiment
Bro, you
with the
remember Paul, dude?
Mellowites.
Remember my little plant?
Hell yeah!
Yeah, dude, remember when I got that? Yeah, look at his little plant pot
At the
thing. I
bug
got this
bowl.
today, yeah.
Damn, he's really getting up there. He's
Bro, he's just hanging out in the
and
walrus.
and yeah, the walrus. You got that today? You said.
Yeah, I got it in the mail today.
Heck yeah, bro. That's sick.
I gotta keep him by the
Uh,
sunlight though,
he
so he doesn't die.
yeah, he made it all the way from Purdue to
From Indiana, yeah.
where'd you put him in your cup holder?
No, I actually gave him to my mom. I don't know what my mom did with the succulent.
He was riding shotgun.
Huh? Yeah, I guess so. My mom takes good care of things. So yeah,
hmm
yeah.
So what's new? What's new in the life?
Dude, I just been drumming a little bit today. That's what I was doing today. I was inspired because I went to go see a live band last night, and they were super cool. Um,
Where at?
it was outside of Lake Jocassee in uh South Carolina.
Is
that's where I
that
am. That's where.
Is that where yeah, I laughed when you posted a B reel of you on a boat with and there's like a lot of people there. Is that the lake in question?
Yeah, that's the lake that I'm near. That was Lake Kiwi. That's right next to Lake Jocassee.
Oh,
So
sure.
yeah,
You guys have a boat out there?
yeah, we do. Yeah, parents have a boat.
That's
Yep.
sick.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So
You guys go like every weekend?
you could go every day.
There you
Yeah, 'cause
you
the
you guys go every day or
no, we don't.
uh,
We can.
do you know how to drive it?
Not yet. I mean, it's like driving a car. I've drove it, but I haven't really gone that far.
Well, if I make it out there, Alec, we're
Dude, if
we're
you wanted
taking
to come,
that for a
hey,
spin.
hey, I mean, yeah, if you wanted to come, dude, yeah.
That'd be fun. Any fishing? Any good fishing out there?
Um, Yeah, people do fish. There's a lot of fish out in the lakes, yeah. So it's nice. I'm not a huge fisher myself, but I like fly fishing. That's pretty fun, but that's more like river fishing. So
Yeah, I never really understood that.
it's really fun, honestly. The last time I did that was probably like 2019. It was fun though. You just kind of whip it back and forth and then you cast it. You
Yeah,
just
it's
sip a beer, you
very.
just sip a beer, hang out with the boys, try to catch fish.
Do you get your waders on, like
Yeah,
the
no,
like
you want to put some
overalls?
long
Yeah,
pants on, yeah. Keep the critters off you, keep the bugs off you, the water bugs.
yeah, I could definitely picture you doing that.
Oh yeah, bro, keep the water bugs. Get out, get down, down, get down, down, crawfish, yeah.
You're gonna start talking like that, man.
Yeah, get down,
Like,
down. Get that damn damn that gator, you get that gator, will make that jambalaya. Yeah. That's like you ever watch Swamp People?
like 30 seconds of it one time. But
Well,
yeah,
my grandparents loved it for some reason, so I'd watch it with them all the time. I don't know why. As like a kid, I did that.
and now you're becoming one of them.
I know. I'm becoming a swamp people.
Well, that's cool. What kind of music was that band doing?
It was really interesting. They were doing like classic blues, but they were also bringing in some funk into it. So they were like a three-piece groove band. So you had like the lead guitarist who kind of sang like the CCR lead singer, right? He kind of had that like swamp blues kind of a voice. He was like a trucker, so that was like his thing.
Hell
And then
yeah.
he had a really interesting sound. I think Jason and Jack would have appreciated it. Who hopefully we can get on the cast at some point, you know.
Of
Um,
course.
but basically they had like an amp. He fed it through his guitar through like two amps. One of them I think was just like a really old amp from probably like the late 60s, like it was so beat up and old. And the other one was like probably from the late 70s. Like they were both super old like amps, like very retro vintage amps. So when he played his guitar, it had a super vintage rock and roll sound, but it was also like really choppy because the amps were old. So
Yeah,
it was a really cool sound, and he had like probably like a $30 like mic amp that made his voice sound like kind of like staticky, which was really cool. So it really played into
yeah,
his role. The drummer had
that's
like two
true.
drums. He had a snare drum, a kick drum, and a tom, like a low tom, and he just had a hi hat and a ride cymbal. So he would just groove on just that stuff because he was just kind of a groovy drummer, you know. It's kind of
And there's another person playing a washboard
No, he was
and
playing. He was
stand.
actually playing a bass. Believe it or not, not a stand-up though. It was just a standard bass. But he brought the stank. So I went up and talked to the band afterwards. They were super cool, and the lead singer also played harmonica. He was really good at it. So
Dope, man.
yeah,
Sounds like it was right up your
they brought
alley.
the blues. They brought the stank. I went up, told them afterwards. I was like, "You guys were so good. You deserve to be at a bigger venue than this." Cause like they had to like end early because the drummer had to go pick his kid up, and I was like, "Damn, that's just life,
That's
I
funny.
guess."
That's sick. So what did you play? And since you were inspired by that music, what have you been jamming to today?
I figured I'd be more inclined to do blues stuff, but I really wasn't. I've just been trying to play faster, I feel like recently.
Hmm.
Just trying to speed up.
I bet your parents love that.
Yeah, no,
If you were
I,
like,
yeah, I play like really loud and really fast these days. That's what I'm. It's like that's how I'm kind of trying to progress as a drummer, just be faster.
nice,
I like doing all those
less work and
fills and
like
stuff with
less.
fast music, so that's what I like to do.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to get into because like when you start playing fast too, like bass drum placement in
Mhm.
like a fast fill is like really important.
I know. Yeah.
Make it sound kind of linear. That's something that I've always struggled with, but that's cool.
I know.
Glad
Yep.
you've been playing.
What have I been playing?
It's like glad you've been playing.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude. I've been trying to play like every day, unless I'm either tired or I'm just like not feeling it, I guess, or I don't have time.
Not feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, not feeling it, Mr.
Damn.
Krabs, kind of a deal. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I definitely feel like I'm playing pretty well now compared to even just like the last time that I played music live. I don't know. That was a long time ago. That was like March. I didn't. No, I played with Jason and Jack, I guess in May. So never mind. I lied.
Yeah, I was there. I was there for
Yeah, I
that.
know you were. I know.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share about this last week's endeavors?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much about it. The only other things that I do is just work.
Mm-hmm.
So I work, I drum a little bit, then I just kind of hang out, play games, or just try to find people to talk to, hang out with my brother, and then I go to sleep. Wake up the next day.
Amen to that. Yeah, on my end, it's been pretty work heavy too. But I did manage to edit that podcast a little
I
bit,
know.
podcast zero, and I just like, I mean, I put in Audacity as per your suggestion.
Mhm.
Cut out a couple cringy moments that I remember on my end. I
Okay.
bet you didn't notice, did you?
No, I didn't think anything was
Yeah,
cringe.
and I like kind of made the ending a little like more concise. Um, and then put like an image in front of it, little logo.
Mhm.
If you're okay with how
Yeah,
that
no, I
logo
like the
turned
logo.
out,
Yeah, the logo was nice.
thanks. Kind of got like, a future in graphic design ahead of me, maybe. Just kidding. It was on Canva. So, but then yesterday we went to emo night at
Oh,
Bogarts.
yeah, how was that? Yeah.
Um, it was fun, but it just like when you guys went to U of I and there's a live band, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
They were playing that would have been cooler. because it's just one thing to just rock out to Fall Out Boy and whatever.
Oh, they just played emo music at the bar.
Yeah, they were just like playing music like louder,
Yeah.
and people were like dressed up and stuff, and it was fun.
Yeah. Did you see the emo girls?
Bunch, bro.
Yeah, you just talk to the emo girls, man.
Green hair, no, they scare me.
They scare you, dude?
They
Don't be afraid of
scare
them,
me.
bro. They're probably really nice.
Oh, I'm sure they are, but
He's just
you know
not
how
into
they.
the emo girls.
I was having great conversations with the lads, and Josh Freehill is in town nowadays
Oh snap.
too.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
saw Josh?
yeah, he's been around quite a bit because he's living in the burbs for like a little bit now, I guess, and he's playing a gig Wednesday. I
Mm-hmm.
think South Elgin. I guess we're gonna try to go.
Yeah, yeah, go see him.
So
He's
yeah,
really
it's good.
good.
It's good to
So
see him. Except he said the group that he's playing in now is like a sellout, and they just play like
he's told me about it.
like
He's like
sad shit.
he hates the music that he has to play pretty much half the time.
But he did describe because it's just like it's a very commercialized thing,
Yeah, I
to
mean
your
it's
point, and
music,
then
right? It's music, so.
but he said that like they do these contracts where they were supposed to play like in like Wrigleyville or something yesterday, and then it
Yeah.
got rained out because it was like crazy weather here. I don't know if you knew that, but it was like it's been pretty crazy weather out here, and they still got paid, I guess,
That's good.
like
That's really
to
good.
not play. Yeah, so must be nice in that regard. But yeah, it was good to see him, and just prepping for our couple gigs that we have on the horizon.
Oh, really?
Jason and Jack.
Oh yeah, what are you guys
Yeah,
doing? What are you guys planning?
we're playing two bars, one in Bartlett, one in St. Charles. Alibi, if you know Alibi.
I don't think I do actually.
Yeah, it's kind of a newer spot. But yeah, we're just playing, the Chili Peppers, Nirvana, other iconic trio type beats.
Nice. Fun.
Playing Wagon
Covers band.
Wheel,
Wagon
yeah,
Wheel. I don't
begrudgingly.
I don't
It's
even
always a balance
yeah,
playing with Jason and Jack because they always want to play the song that like people don't know their music,
true. You're
and
not wrong.
they like when I'm playing these bar places, I want to play songs that people know, So it's always trying to
Well yeah,
strike a
yeah, yeah.
balance of playing what you want to play and also what is going to be enjoyable. But I think we've done a pretty good job of creating a good set list, so I'm excited for that.
That's good. That's good, yeah. That's pretty fun. That's fun.
And looking forward to that. But yeah, just living life.
Mhm.
So, you want to maybe get into what we wanted to talk about today, Allie?
Sure, yeah. So yeah, this is part of the Mellow experiment, you know? This is just kind of part of what we do here. We're just gonna kind of pick an activity, pick a topic to talk about today, and I think there's no better topic to talk about than the actual country that we live in, you know? Because believe it or not, this country hasn't been around for very long, you know? Realistically, it's only been around for about what, a little under uh
Well,
I don't want to get it wrong. I don't know.
Seventeen
It's a little under 300 years.
Yeah,
A little bit.
it was like pretty significantly under 300.
2076, yeah, is like
Yeah,
the 300th year anniversary of this country, which is crazy.
which is a ton of years, of course, but nothing compared to Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess
But
that'd make 2026 must be the 250th anniversary of the
oh
country.
man, we got to go hard for that.
Yeah, people are gonna go nuts. 250 years. So we're not even in the 250 yet. I didn't even see that the math. 1776.
But on our current trajectory, I don't know if there'll be a lot of American pride by 2026.
Fair enough. You know, that's more of a political topic, though. You know, I'm not trying to I'm
Hmm.
not trying to talk about
Hmm.
politics at this point. You know, I'm not.
But
I'm trying
250,
to
man,
I'm trying
how
to talk
far we've
about
come.
history. You know, the history.
Hmm. And there's a lot of funny stories, a lot of funny things that have happened over these 240 something years.
Oh, for sure, dude.
and we kind of consider ourselves a couple scholars.
Oh, I would
Uh,
say so. And
I'm
I dabble
I'm an
in.
AP US history graduate, of
Oh, of course, yes.
course. So I know a thing or two. I had to write a couple DBQs back in my day.
Oh, for sure. Yep, yep. You know it. You
You know,
know it.
remember those? Remember those, Alec?
Oh
Remember those
yeah,
days?
bro. I remember those days, dude.
I liked when we took our AP tests in the like King County Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
I felt like I was like a sheep, like
What?
being herded for slaughter or something. Because they put us in like this ginormous
This
cavernous building.
dude. Dude, I remember there was do you remember, do you remember Tommy Corbett?
Yeah,
Yeah, dude. During the exam, I guess like he was just taking it and like he wore sweatpants, which is just a it's just an absolute disaster when it comes to like losing things. Like I never wear sweatpants out in public often because I feel like stuff always falls out. Like I just had a really traumatic experience when I was
interesting.
like younger where I lost my wallet in a movie theater and then I had to wait like 2 hours to get my wallet back because we were just like searching around to see where my wallet was. And they were like, it didn't fall through the seat. And then I like got in there and looked and then it was there. I had to wait until the movie ended. I was so
That's
sad.
really hilarious. That's
Yeah.
that's more of a classic Alex story.
So
I,
I
I,
was like,
I
yep,
can
nope,
see that happening to
nah,
you.
not doing this anymore. But yeah, no, during the exam, his phone fell out of his sweatpants and like
Oh, I do
clattered on the
remember
ground,
that.
and there was like a
Yeah,
lady that was right next to him and she like freaked out because she thought that he was using his phone to cheat,
yeah,
and so they had to like stop the whole exam for a little bit. Just crazy.
yeah. I remember that. I wasn't there for that, but tough luck,
I
tough
know.
break for him.
Yep, yep. But yeah, no. The actual history of the country itself is pretty interesting though, because a lot of this country was just kind of designed off of the philosophy that we didn't want to be like any other country. So a lot of our
Hmm.
and at the same time, a lot of other countries at this point in Europe and other places of the world, I mainly compare to Europe a lot of the time because that was the only place that America really kind of dealt with in its early years was parts of Europe that had previously settled in America. I just kind of think it's funny that so many like religious groups kind of just came to America because they were like, like we're like ultra religious. We want to be like more religious here than like Europe. And a lot of people don't realize that like this country was kind of founded on like religious extremism. That's like how it all began.
Well, they left.
Yeah,
Like they wanted to leave Europe because
they were
their
oppressed.
extremist ideas weren't
Yeah,
accepted.
they were oppressed, like Protestants or like just general religious extremists that were like, we want
Hmm.
to create a religious community, and other people in Europe were like, nah, like we're not, we're just trying to drink, have a good time. Like they fell out of religion sooner than we did. I think it all happened with Henry VIII, to be honest. As soon as he kind of said he started changing like the church himself as like a king, like stuff just kind of spiraled over time where it was just like religion, like everyone still went to church on Sunday, but like everyone wasn't like doing everything around religion. Like it used to be like that, but over time
Well,
Europeans
yeah,
stopped doing that. They
the
just
church ran the world.
yeah, they were like building cities and stuff like that. And they were drinking alcohol a lot more because there were more people, and a lot of people were getting out of like the Renaissance and stuff like that, which was a sharing of a bunch of more progressive ideas in the scientific revolution. So people were a little less religious in Europe, but you bring all the extremists to America, and we were like very religious, and it's pretty crazy because we had so many religious movements in this country. It's pretty wild. It's like I don't know. I always think that, like the Methodist
The
Church is really
Quakers.
interesting, where it was this dude that was just walking around like everywhere, just like a pastor or whatever, and he just told people like these people aren't Protestant enough. We need to like Martin Luther this shit again. We gotta bring it back, bring back religion to what it's actually supposed to be, which is praising God every day and being a community doing that. And then like it just caught fire everywhere. It's like one of the most expansive religions in the whole country. This one dude just kept going around every state and just being like, guys, we gotta bring God back. Like, like this country's falling apart.
Or he's gotta make America great again
Yeah,
with God.
with God, dude.
But before TV, that's all they had. They didn't have anything to entertain themselves,
Yeah, they had books.
so they had to go to church.
I mean, they had other books, but yeah, you're not wrong. It was hard to get access to those, so some people would literally just read the Bible.
If they could read it all,
That is also true.
what a time to be alive, though.
Yeah, I know. It would have been kind of weird living in America at that period of time. The 1800s just had so much shift in everything. Like living through that would
Oh,
have been incredible.
during my research too, I noted that like after America like won the Civil War or a Revolutionary War, and there was like a truce, like a ceasefire or whatever. This Treaty of Paris wasn't even signed until like 5 years after we had won the war, like already. So like there were like 5 years where we just like weren't a country or just like officially, and we're just like waiting around to see what was going to be going on.
I think I
This was
think
also
I
the
think
same
you're
time,
right. I
but
don't know if it was 5 years though. It might have been like 5 months.
a significant amount of time because that was one thing I was going to talk about was at the same time all like the revolutionary soldiers and like George Washington's army like weren't paid. Yeah,
Mm,
it was probably for months, like you're saying, because and they weren't paid. Like they were like starving and
yeah,
stuff,
it
and it
was
was
bad.
like we were like gonna like lose like after we had won because we were just gonna like give up. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird though because word took so long to reach, especially across the ocean. So that makes sense.
Well, we kind of got lucky because the British had to start dealing with other problems.
Hmm. A lot of problems around that time.
Yeah, they were fighting the Spanish at the same time too. But the
Oh, Spaniards love to fight.
Yep, yep. And I think they were fighting some of the Austrians as well. It was that really short war. It was that weird one. It was like the what, like the 8 years war or something like that. Uh,
But I tried to
13.
steer away from wars as much as possible in my research.
Oh, there was a 13 years war, but that was different. It was something like that. There was just a short war in Europe. They had so
Sure,
many of those.
the 1 week's war.
Yep, the 1 week one.
I also saw one about the War of the Bucket. Apparently, there was a war about a stolen bucket,
I have heard about that. That was
and
like
like
between
2,000 people died.
yeah.
Crazy.
You can fight over a lot of dumb things. Like not a lot of people know this, but Indiana was like I forget which state. I'm pretty sure they were fighting Michigan. They had like a lot of skirmishes for a period of time when that area was being settled once the Ohio River Valley like opened up into the Great Lakes, right? They wanted like access to the lake. They were completely cut off because Michigan like dipped lower. And so they were
Sure, yeah.
super pissed. They were like, dude, you kidding me? Like, we're like probably 20 miles away from the lake and we have no access to it. And you get like one port set up there and you're set, dude. It's like, it's over. Like, you get access to all of the other stuff that's happening on that lake up to Canada, all the way to the
Fur
Erie
trade.
Canal, all the way to the Erie Canal, bro. You can get all the way up to New York from that one little spot. That's like insane trade route right there. It was cracked back in like the 1830s, bro. It
Hmm.
was the cheat code. That's why
Broken.
Chicago just expanded so heavily. But
Like in railroads.
nowadays, though, it's not as glorious. They were so excited because they just fought the Michiganders. I don't know what the Hoosiers fought off the Michiganders. I don't know what you call Michigan. Someone from Michigan.
That sounds about right.
Michigander. They're
The
just a
the
bunch
in,
of
the Indiana people probably had more specific names they used to call them. Back when they fought, I guess.
yeah.
Did they have armies?
They
Probably
had
just
they
like
had
local
they were
people. Of
called militias, Matthew. They were called
course, yeah.
militias. So these militias, yeah, they fought each other, and eventually the U.S. government had to step in and said, you know what, Indiana, you can have this swath of land because you guys keep bitching and moaning about it, and you won't stop. And Michigan was pissed because they're like, damn, now we're gonna compete with Indiana. But they ended up Indiana just kind of fucked themselves because that ended up becoming Gary, Indiana. Scary Gary, dude, is
I
the spot that they fought over. They fought and died so that they could have Gary. That would
I could
like
see it
that would
now.
reduce Michigan's value so much if they had that. They'd have Flint, Detroit, and Gary all in the same state. They would be one of the worst states.
The birthplace of Michael Jackson.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that. He was born in
Yeah,
Scary Gary, bro.
not so bad after all, huh?
Dude, I don't know, bro. The Michael Jackson allegations, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course,
Had
that could
like
be a different
he had
perspective.
like bedrooms, like secret bedrooms all over his house.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
well,
you know, questionable.
probably not a great guy.
Questionable.
Probably not a great guy.
Probably not. But at the end of the day, how many celebrities are pretty sane, you know? But we're not talking about that.
Good
We're
point.
talking about US history. And speaking of US history, celebrities, dude. Celebrities in US history. Celebrities were always like a thing, but they wouldn't become like a huge thing until like radio took over. Like you
Hmm.
until you just started like everyone united in the entire country basically in unison, they were all hearing like one person's voice, like basically changed the whole game. Like always like the president would always be a celebrity, right? Like local politicians, stuff like that. Maybe some local war heroes, but like other than that, there really weren't like people that you would think about and be like, oh man, which is like so different today because there's so many celebrities. People pick and choose their favorites and then they like listen to their platform and they're like, I believe everything that this celebrity says because I like this person in X movie. Like Johnny Depp, for example, perfect example. Like I heard parts of the case. Johnny Depp was still at fault at times. He's not a great person, but everyone was like, I hope Johnny wins so we get a new Pirates movie. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro.
Yeah, that
He
was
was so
kind of a
great as Jack
problem.
Sparrow, man. He was so great as Jack Sparrow. Dude, I really like Johnny Depp in the Pirates movie. We got Pirates 5? Pirates. I'm like, bro. Johnny Depp. Yeah. So I was like, okay, dude, whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
didn't
it
really
was
follow
it
that
was
too.
always like local, like like other people. It depend on like what factions you were part of. Like some people were really religious, so they would like be really into people like that. But then there were like traveling people too, like people really liked Buffalo Bill, if you know who he is, with his like traveling
Yeah, of course.
circus stuff like
Hmm.
that. Annie Oakley. Like those kinds of people kind of expanded where they traveled and like cruised and then people would write about them in newspapers and ship them across the country, which is a really interesting concept because it was like you would always hear about these people and you'd see just like a still picture of them, which you really wouldn't know who they were until you actually like saw them and like do something. Like you just kind of like heard about them. You're like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. This person's in town. This celebrity like came to our town. They're doing something, so the whole town would basically show up to that. They'd pay money to go see it. So that's why they were so successful because they didn't have anything better to do. Or they would bring
Accessibility.
or
Yeah.
like Buffalo Bill's show would bring the exotics of the West, which is really not that really not that exotic. They would just bring like Native Americans and they'd be like, look at
Oh
our
yeah,
red
that
people.
was messed up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. And then they'd be like, oh, like look at our buffaloes, look at like all these people that can shoot and all our cowboys and stuff. And they really glorified the concept of cowboys to people, and that really transcended into the 50s when they started writing stories about cowboys. 'Cause they thought all the cowboys were out shooting about and they're outlaws shooting guns, but it's just because that's what Buffalo Bill kind of propagated across the
Perpetuated.
yeah
Yeah.
he propagated this Western propaganda across the United States, and they loved it. They were like, the West is cool, the West is sick, and now look at us. The West is no longer cool. It's for like boomers. It's like you like everything's run down there. It's like the only thing that's cool in the West now is all the progressive parts, like ooh, like California. Whoa.
And we got spaghetti westerns too, probably in due part to Buffalo Bill.
Oh, you're completely
So
correct. Yeah.
he played a good part in that
Yep. Yep.
quality cinema.
Yeah. Because Europeans totally ate that stuff up too. Europeans
Hmm.
loved it because it was just so like American. They like it's still like a fact that like Americans and Europeans just kind of like each other, whether or not they want to admit it sometimes. they like people in America are like, oh man, like these Europeans just kind of like live a little bit differently and like more simple lives, or like, oh, like they're a little bit artsier or whatever, like, or their cities are really pretty. And then like European like point of view is kind of like, yeah, Americans like to ride around in their truck when they're wear their 10-gallon hats. For some reason, they absolutely love like the concept of just being like in this big open free space, and we're like the opposite, where we're like, oh, being this
Yeah.
nice little cute town would be really cool on like a oceanside or whatever, or like, oh, the history and stuff like that. It's kind of
Another thing, another thing that really intrigues Europeans based on my discussion was every single conversation I had, like one on one with like a young our age European person, was they were
yeah,
always talking about their favorite YouTubers that are American.
really,
They're
that's
like,
crazy.
oh yeah, like what they associate and their intrigue in America is what's available on social media and our prominent influencers like the Pauls, of course, and
Tragic. That's tragic if that's what they're seeing, dude.
what they know of Trump. So yeah, it's
Sad.
that's kind of like what's foremost representing our country over there,
That's not good,
better
dude.
or worse. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not good. Rather it be like musicians or like maybe Americana, like famous movies and stuff like that, or
right.
like I don't know, like the food that we have. Big fat cheeseburger. Ah.
Uh, oh yeah,
Man, if I didn't have a nice sweet tea and a nice Big Mac burger,
I'm
riding
gonna make you
riding my
die.
Ram truck. And then
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
gonna
know.
go. And then I'm gonna go shoot up the school. Oh,
Oh
that might be a
hell,
little edgy
what are
for
you
this one.
doing? What are you doing? We're cutting
Hey,
that.
that's I might as well talk about that as well, because that didn't really become a thing for a long time. But people don't really talk about the fact that like the modern school shooting is just like the old like massacre. Like massacres happened all the time still. Like people would either just be like they'd either be absolutely insane, they wanted something really bad, or they wanted to kill a minority group in America. And that happened a lot.
I
Like a
mean, people just
lot.
used to die like a bunch
People used to die a
and
lot,
for
and
like
it was
no reason.
from guns. Like people were just
Yeah.
murdering. Like the Tulsa massacre is probably one of the most famous, where they basically just lit an entire black community on fire
Oh
and
yeah.
killed like I think what, like 50 people, 60 people. They just like killed them in
That's
Tulsa,
tragic.
Oklahoma, and
Hmm.
it's like okay, wow. Other times there was a big one in like Kansas City that was breaking out due to a lot of northern and southern conflict in like the 1850s, because people didn't agree with each other. So like a huge like fire broke out in their town, and there was a lot of gunfighting. It was crazy. Like stuff like that used to happen. I mean, you can go all the way back in time to even like the what's it, the witch trials, dude, the Salem witch trials, where they were literally just like accusing young women of being witches, like witchcraft, saying that they were like putting spells on them stuff. And today people are saying that their water was contaminated and that they were all going crazy,
Yeah, I could see that
which
definitely being
is
a
wild.
possibility.
And they just started
But yeah,
killing women,
just
innocent
a general
innocent
sense.
women and children. Being,
And that one guy that said more weight.
oh yeah, that's right, dude. So it's like,
But yeah, just like a general sense of lawlessness
yeah,
was like even worse in recent history. So yeah, definitely see that.
you
But
know.
still tragic,
Yeah, I
100%.
think I think a lot of that violence though just kind of arose from a lot of tension and stuff like that, or disagreements. But a lot of the violence that happens today now, like it transitioned after like the Second World War, when like people started to become more progressive, right? So then black communities started to rise up, with their social movements, and so did women. Um, so they would be less oppressed, which is totally fair. But it's kind of interesting because a lot of that violence kind of came out of that section, like of progressiveness, is like the violence changed from just like random killing sprees to like crime based. Like everything started to become really crime based. It started to tilt more like Europe, where things were just like crime based, except it wasn't just in cities, it was like everywhere. Like they've
Hmm.
always outlawed guns in like Europe and stuff like that, but they've always had stabbing problems. They've always had stabbings in like Europe.
Which is a much more gruesome way to go, if you
Oh,
ask
for
me.
sure, honestly. But
Very, very intimate, a stabbing.
yeah,
I
you got to
don't
get it
want to do
right
that.
next to someone and do it like 50 times for them to die.
Because what would it feel like, man? I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
That is-
But basically though, yeah, no, it really evolved with people just kind of like carrying around weapons that were after the wars that we fought. They're much more powerful, and now they can just easily, like a civilian can, with minimal practice, can just kill somebody. And it
yeah,
was, I think maybe the first evidence of that might have just been the Lincoln assassination, if anything. But it didn't really become like more of a thing where people were just kind of offing each other like that until the mafia started, like the mob started rolling in with all the corruption in the late 1800s into like the 1930s, 1940s, even upwards to the 70s. But yeah, like Al Capone in Chicago and stuff like that, just offing people controlling the
where's
city. Like it was a powerful tool, but it was all like crime in the cities, but it really propagated out once people started to become less racist and they just had other goals in mind, like I need money. And so a lot of these poor communities, which unfortunately plagued a lot of minorities after these like progressive movements, because they got pushed into like they're like, okay, you're free now, but we're still not gonna give you like a nice place to live or
sure?
like any benefits. Like like realistically, Americans have been here for a long time and people built up wealth and people that are here longer built up wealth. But when you're like freed as a slave, they never got the opportunity to build that wealth. So they were always just kind of fucked.
Oh, that is, yeah,
And then they started killing each
systematic
other so that
oppression.
way because they had conflicts and they wanted stuff because they had no money. Just crime in general.
Hmm.
And that's still a problem now, but like it's weird that the school shooting started becoming a thing. And I think it's just because it's like that is really different because it's not like a lot of these old massacres where it's a conflict of interest or you're not doing crime, right? Like that propagated out of like corruption in the late 1800s or like these post-progressive movements. It's just kind of happened. There's like no real
Yeah,
explanation like historically for this that's ever happened. Like it's
I think,
always been for a purpose, and their purpose is to be on TV to kill
yeah,
people?
I have like a little anecdotal thing to add to that. Like, I think mental health really plays a
Oh,
important
for
like role into
sure.
that. Because like, yeah, obviously a lot of these people have mental problems, and then just like an anecdotal like kind of thing that's alarming was one of our family friends recently started working at like an ER nurse, and she said that like 70% of the like emergency visits that she's been getting like past year or whatever have been mental health related. Whether
That's
someone tried to
crazy.
self harm, just like admits themselves there because they like are seriously considering it and need help. Yeah, it's yeah really sad and just like wow.
Yeah. So it's interesting that that kind of came out of somewhere. It always makes me wonder if mental health has always been an issue in like life, but no one's like ever really written about it until the 1900s. That's only when like people started to delve into that concept. Like there could be something wrong with the way that society is doing things to people, but it only seemed to happen around the same time as industrialization happened. People seemed a lot happier if they were unoppressed and they didn't have to work like 40-hour weeks. People that were farming, they had like an entire off season basically. I mean, yeah, it would be cold, but they'd have like a whole off
Mm,
season. And if you were doing crop rotations, you'd still have an off season. Like if you were somewhere where it was hot all the time or warm all the time, like California or something, you can yield all the time, but there's still a crop rotation you have to go through. So like people were just kind of like vibing and then they could eat their own crops and on top of that like they had small communities where they could exchange for goods. Like bartering was still a huge deal for a lot of like people that were farming and stuff like, "Oh yeah, I'll give you a cow, for a bunch of services for like a year." People were doing that.
hmm.
That's not a thing anymore.
Sounds like you want to be a farmer, Alex.
No, I'm just saying that was
Need I
kind of the
remind you
deal.
of the Dust Bowl? Huh?
Dude,
Want to live in
yeah,
the Dust Bowl,
well,
bro?
I was gonna mention that. That was because of a failure of crop rotation. That was like people were just
You're
consecutively
working that
planting
off
the same
season.
stuff over and over and over again, and they overused all the land, and they went through a drought at the same time. And yeah, it created like the worst situation ever. It was bad. But we've learned now that it's better to keep for the soil if you rotate the plants, like plant different things, more careful about the soil, and like you give back like items like nitrogen to the soil somehow. Um, but yeah,
Genetic modification, we can make our watermelons taste like cotton candy now.
true.
We can do whatever the hell. We can
We
grow
can.
square watermelons like Minecraft.
We could. We
I
could.
did a lot of square. I did a lot of watermelon research
Yeah. You're a
in Vietnam.
watermelon. You're a watermelon expert.
Big watermelon guy.
Big watermelon
Um,
professional. Professional
summer.
watermelon enjoyer. Professional watermelon enjoyer.
Enthusiast. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, bro. When's yellow coming out? I know we already got orange, but when's yellow coming? You know, it's not
Yellow.
lemons, dude. I'm saying we need
Lemon.
yellow, and then when's green coming? You know, are they gonna make
When's
a blue? Are we gonna be eating blue next?
they got blueberries.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like you got oranges. We need blues. You know, we need yellows. We need we need reds. Where are these fruit? They need
I
to
wonder what they
exist.
would taste like.
Right? What would a blue taste like? Like, hey, bro, pass me a blue. like,
Probably,
like
probably taste
imagine you're
pretty
just
sad.
like coaching like the new little league baseball team, and it's like, guys, I brought blue slices.
I have
I
blue,
brought blue slices, and all the
blue
kids are like,
slices to the
yeah.
team.
And they're blue raspberry flavored. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
it'd be
It's blues.
it'd be unsettling
What?
if they brought red slices. And the thing about the reds is that their juice looks a lot like blood.
Jesus
So
Christ! All
the
right,
kids are all celebrating. Well, they got
they got
they
blood.
got red juice all over their
Like
face.
like if they were eating watermelon, Matt. That's like the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. You know, there's this one battle that I always like to think about for some reason. I think I started making it kind of a joke when I was in AP US history. I'd always bring it up all the time because it was just kind of a weird thing. It was called the Battle of Fallen Timbers. It's like a super random battle that like no one knows, and it happened in like
please
1798.
enlighten me.
It happened in like 1798. It was like one of the last large Native American conflicts after the Revolutionary War. Like, obviously there was stuff after that, like Little Bighorn and all that, like expanding into the West and stuff like that, or like like the disagreements we had with the Navajo Nation and stuff like that. But it was more about the fact that we were trying to move into the West for the first time because we were all on the coast, right? Like all the old 13
Of
colonies,
course.
right? The classic 13 colonies. But we were trying to move and we had to go through the Ohio River Valley. There were a lot of Native Americans there though. So one of the last massive battles that we had against the people that were in the Ohio River valleys that allowed basically anyone to travel anywhere west of the United States from there on out was this Native American tribe that was there, led by this tribe leader named Little Turtle. And he was just under the impression that was like, oh, like the Americans, they're probably gonna eventually come, guys, but it'll be peaceful. Like I believe that it'll be a peaceful approach. And the Americans just came in guns a blazing, and the Native Americans were like,
Damn.
wow, okay, we gotta survive. Like we need to fight for our lives. So the main reason why it was called the Battle of Fallen Timbers is because the Americans just started kind of like industrializing themselves in. They were like cutting down trees and building forts and stuff like that as they were progressing through. And the Native Americans saw like their land just being absolutely ravaged and like stolen and raped basically. They're like
That's
all these
bad.
trees, like they were like all these trees that they like were used to walking past are now all being taken down and used to build forts. So it's crazy that a lot of this area, this swath through like Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, all used to just be completely forested, and now it's like
Hmm.
totally deforested because of us coming through and just saying goodbye trees. And a lot of the Native Americans really disliked that because they would just basically live in the forest all the time. So some plains and stuff, but they would live like they were just like forest natives. But yeah, no, eventually Little Turtle just kind of had to give in. in like August of August of September of like 1798, and they like signed a peace agreement saying that they weren't gonna like do anything wrong to them, and they were like, yeah, you guys can have access to this territory, like it's not owned by us anymore, because they just didn't have the technology to fight back anymore, and they didn't have the manpower. And as a result, I'm pretty sure a lot of those native groups just kind of got placed somewhere, and they got moved further east, which makes sense, right? Because you don't want to push them further west, because then you'll run into them again later, and they'll be
Yeah,
even more upset. So they pushed them further east and then moved them onto the Trail of Tears. Tragic.
very sad,
Yeah.
but very symbolic name, of course. Battle of Fallen Timbers.
Mhm. Yep. My homie Little Turtle just couldn't pull through.
Great name, great name. But
I
I have
know. I
some
know.
more maybe uplifting
You
stories
got like
that aren't
you got like
war related.
building lore. You got
No,
you got
no.
you got
It's,
popcorn lore, dude. You got the
they're
you know
mainly.
about the popcorn lore, Matthew?
I know a little bit about Orville Redenbacher
Oh, really?
because he's from Valpo. They have a big statue of him downtown,
Really?
and he's like sitting on a
Orville?
bench. He's
My
chilling. He's
man
like
my man's Orville.
get like a pic of Orville chilling.
Dude, it's the Bacher, bro. It's the Redenbacher, bro. It's
Yeah, but I kind of did some like sports research, and there's some pretty funny things. Um, if you would like me to enlighten you
Well,
on
yeah, dude.
some
Sports history is
funny
always interesting because it's
American
America's
sports history,
pastime.
yeah,
Like
uh-huh.
I didn't even mention sports in like any of this when I was. Yeah, go.
Yeah, that's time for the sports section. Um, and it's nothing. This first tale has nothing to do with football or baseball or traditional American endeavors. This has to do with ski jumping, something that
Wow.
USA has not been a force to be reckoned with. And this harkens back to 1924, the Olympic Games in France, Winter Olympic Games, I guess. Maybe it was before they did it. It was just the Olympic Games. I don't know. This guy named Anders Haugen, right?
Okay.
Great ski jumper, really ahead of his time from California. Represents the United States, and up to this point, like Americans have like really never won any Winter Olympic event, and still true to this day. Of course, we're not really known for our winter sports besides Sean White.
Yeah.
Anyway, does really well. Gets fourth though, so sad.
Dang.
And like another like 50 years goes by,
Yeah. What year was this?
and
You didn't. I don't think you.
1924,
Okay.
1924, he was
Wow.
doing this.
Ski jumping already in the 20s.
Yeah,
Like how long was skiing around by that point? Dang.
well, they did. They skied to go to work, in the Norwegian countries, probably.
Oh,
I don't know.
true.
But
Honestly,
anyway,
you're not wrong. They probably did a lot of cross country skiing and stuff.
and obviously, no American athlete won any ski jumping, like skiing events for like the next 50 years. But some guy on the International Olympic Committee was looking back at the books and noticed that like a zero was supposed to be an eight or something like that, like something really stupid in the official record book for that. And he was supposed to get third. Anders was supposed to get third. It was a computational error. So they bring in Anders at 86 years old and put that bronze medal on him.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that a great tale of?
That's a very
I'm
interesting
surprised
little
he was
story.
still alive in 1984 or whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, 86, and he got that bronze. He got that bronze. Another interesting fact I determined was has to do with old baseball guys.
Oh yeah, classic
There's a
old
lot of
baseball.
crazy
Hmm.
there's a lot of crazy stories, from old pro baseball. And one of my favorite things about them, when I've been to the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame, Cooperstown,
Yep.
all that. We like baseball in the family, and I really like their names. Big ones and their nicknames, Shoeless
Yeah.
Joe,
Shoeless
of
Joe.
course, just like wacky stuff like that. But he's not even on the top five for me, and I found a couple that are funny. Starting pitcher, uh, from Farmersville, California, we have Orville Overall. Orville overall
Wow,
from
what a name.
1881.
Say that one 5 times really fast, dude.
Orville overall, bro. And then not long after, in 1930,
Yeah.
from Leakesville, Mississippi, we have Vinegar Bend Mizell. Vinegar Bend. That's his
Vinegar?
name.
His name was Vinegar?
Vinegar Bend.
Wow, okay. Dude, where's
Also a
where's
pitcher.
baking soda, bro?
I don't know. But also in the late 1800s, there was just a guy named Bud Weiser. Bud Weiser.
That was his full name, was Bud White.
Bud
Like, was that his
Weiser.
actual name?
Yep. Bud Weiser.
That's incredible. He was just a beer.
It might have been before Budweiser.
Yeah, what year would that have been? Like the
Well,
1880s?
he was born 1891.
Wow. Oh yeah.
Budweiser.
Oh wow. Look at that.
Great looking guy. Everyone
Yeah,
looked like movie stars back then.
I know. Everyone kind of did, I feel like.
Then we got Johnny Dickshot, kind of a famous one.
Johnny Dickshot.
Johnny
What?
Dickshot
These aren't real, dude. These aren't
from
real.
Waukegan, Illinois, bro.
Oh, he's from Waukegan. Wow.
Yeah,
Yo, we used
had a
to play him
very
in
very good career.
Scholastic Bowl and we kick their asses, dude. Johnny Dickshot.
Johnny Dickshot.
His dick was shot? Is that the joke?
I
Or
don't
he would
know.
sh or he was a did it say he was a pitcher?
All these guys are pretty much pitchers, bro. Everyone
Okay,
was
so yeah,
pitching back in the
so
day.
he must have been known for throwing beanballs at people's dicks, dude. What an asshole.
I
He'd
think that was
walk
just
you
his
by
last name,
hit
bro.
you
It
right
wasn't
in
a
the right in the
nickname.
you think that was his real name? Was Dick Shot.
Johnny Dickshot is his last name, bro. I don't know. It's in the record. It's in the record books as Johnny Dickshot.
That's crazy.
But my favorite though,
Beer? His name
his
is just
name is just
Beer?
Beer. Played for Lancaster Lynx in 1910.
Lancaster Lynx.
Pitched this season. His
Pitched
name
one
is
season. He
just
must have been
Beer.
drunk all the time.
His name is Beer. That's what he's in the books as Beer.
That's wild.
Crazy times back in the day.
That is wild.
And another interesting fact about crazy times in sports was there's a player, the Cowboys. Cowboys made the Super Bowl
Mhm.
in I believe it was sometime in the 80s.
Yeah, they were really good in the 80s.
Yeah.
They were super
Anyway,
good.
Thomas Hollywood Henderson
I've heard
is
of
kind of
him.
known for having a drug problem,
What a
big
surprise.
drug problem.
Did a lot of coke for sure.
And yeah, literally in a little nasal spray container, made a mixture of cocaine and water, and was just going to town all day
That's
in the
insane.
Super Bowl. Had a great game. So, if you ask me, maybe we should be doing that more often.
No, I don't know about that. Isn't like 1 gram enough to kill someone?
Maybe a normal
If you
person, but not a guy
accidentally
like
dose it
Thomas
a little too high, then
Hollywood.
you're dead. I'm pretty sure. You're dead.
Well, I would never really
I would never.
mess with that.
I would. After you just said, why isn't everyone doing it, Matt? What make up your fucking mind, dude. What are you
May like
doing?
pro athletes, maybe just a little bit, like a little bit in the morning, get you going.
Dude, they just need to. Everyone just needs to drink testosterone. Just pure test. Just pure T, bro.
What would that look like?
Well, everyone would just have raging muscles. We'd
What
get rid of
is
all the femboys.
what even is pure testosterone? Isn't it just like a chemical? I don't even know what it is.
It's what makes us men, dude. It's
Yeah, I
what
know,
makes a
but
man a
does it
man.
come in liquid form?
It's the opposite of estrogen.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
testosterone, man. Estrogen,
but can you
woman.
drink it?
Well, clearly you can't drink it, but you can get it injected into your body. You can like take supplements. So I guess you can kind of drink it. You take
Is
like
that
a
what you're
pill.
taking?
Oh yeah, bro. No, I'm on
Not the
estrogen, dude. I'm on
ephemeral?
estrogen. I'm gonna have
Uh,
massive boobs, dude.
Can't wait to see that,
And I'll
man.
have a higher voice. He'll be like, "Oh my God, Matt! Oh my!" You what, Matt, your face right now. You're like, "What?" All right, we're deviating too much now. This is
I just can't picture that.
no.
But
You with
maybe I
boobs,
do
you
want
couldn't.
that. I hope that day never comes.
Yeah, that day never comes. Well, Matt, maybe someday it will. You never know.
Well, whatever you want to do, that's
Cause
for you.
there's people saying these days that we have lower testosterone levels in young adults, young men today.
That is true. Yeah,
I don't know.
because of all the edamame we're eating, bro.
People
That made
people
me
have a
so
lot of
sad.
different things that people are saying. Like it's crazy how little scientists truly know about our bodies still. Like they're still kind of guessing in the dark a lot of the time.
Hmm.
Like stuff like cancer and AIDS, they're just trying to find the best possible solution, which is why in like 50 years it'll always look weird. Like back when people were just like they would give like kids for toys like a uranium like oh like play with this like uranium like check out it glows in the dark like this is real and all those people got got radiation poisoning
Oh my
which
god.
is crazy but it's like okay you just didn't know so like people like 100 years from now they'll look at chemotherapy and be like man that was just like they really like poison themselves in order to get rid of the virus. It's so like crude. Like they didn't really work. It's just like the best solution we had at the time.
Do we have? Yeah,
Just like
100%.
how in the plague people were just like, all right guys, if we just smell flowers all the time, we'll be safe from being sick. But it turned and it did help. But it turns out it wasn't actually the flowers. It was the fact that they were wearing masks, so they were propagating as much.
Yeah, I'm kind of an anti-masker, so don't
Oh
bring that
yeah,
up.
bro. Clearly. Couldn't. Yeah, I remember Matt. You can't put a mask on you, dude. So someone tried to put a mask on you, and you just
I
stabbed the
flipped
mask. You just
out.
put
I
a bunch of holes
flipped
in it.
out, and I set it on fire.
He set it on fire. Classic.
But one last story from another Super Bowl,
Oh yeah.
classic American experience. This goes back to Super Bowl 13, if I can do my Roman numerals right.
Mhm.
Steelers won. Pittsburgh Steelers. Good for them.
That was with what's this? Wait, what year?
Super Bowl 13.
So it was in the
So
70s.
yeah, probably the 70s.
No, wait. No, that's got to be in the early 80s, right? I thought the first Super Bowl was in like 68.
This picture kind of looks
So like okay,
slightly
so it's
more
it's
modern.
clearly it's probably still Terry Bradshaw as the QB, right?
They had an interview with this guy named Sable,
Okay.
and you got Mean Joe Green, of
Oh,
course.
Mean Joe Green. See, I think
Yeah,
Terry Bradshaw was on that team.
sure. Yeah, that sounds about right. But anyway, the funny thing about that time was, they're popping champagne in the locker room, having a great time, of course.
Of course.
Things settle down, team hops in the shower, and then you start to notice that maybe someone's there that isn't supposed to be there.
What?
And turns out there was just an average Joe, a fan, in the shower with the team. Showers,
He must have looked
towels off.
way smaller than all of them, like skinnier, like.
Yeah, I'll say a little bit of the interview. But yeah, toweled off, got dressed, and left. Um, and the man never, to this day, has identified himself
That's
for like who the
hilarious.
guy is. And he was like apparently like taking questions from like reporters and stuff too.
That is so funny.
But
What a
they have a
savage.
quote.
What
They
a
have a quote
savage.
from one of the players, and he's called. I was wondering who that pasty white little bald guy was. Yeah,
I guess a
but yeah,
football
great for
team
him.
is big enough that maybe you don't know. Sometimes. Maybe people just
Different
thought he
time
was the
back then
kicker or
too.
something.
Maybe a part of the staff.
True, that as well, yeah.
But it definitely is, yeah, a larger team. Probably wouldn't fly in a basketball thing or yeah, a more smaller group of individuals.
Mhm.
But I just think it's funny how the guy never identified himself. No one knows who he is, but
What a story.
he did that thing.
It's just random stories like that sometimes.
And they seem to happen a lot
Yeah.
in sports, especially.
Or like maybe like this story with like someone like DB Cooper. You never really knew what actually happened to the guy. He either lived or he didn't. You know about DB Cooper, right?
Yeah, for the most part, but why don't you
Yeah,
enlighten
no, DB
others
Cooper
not
was the
to?
guy that he was like it was like one of the first times someone hijacked an airplane.
Hmm.
So he walked onto a plane. He was on the plane and then he claimed that he had a bomb in his briefcase to like one of the stewardesses, and he told him like tell the pilot. So the pilot then started communicating to like a local like radio place, and he told like them like to land the plane in a specific place and then fly it over like Washington or something. So when they landed, he got everyone off the plane, and he had this briefcase, and he asked for like I think a couple $100,000 or something like that in cash. And so then they brought it to him on the plane, and their original plan was to try to get the pilot to jump out of the plane, right? But the thing is that he also asked for a parachute so he could get out of the plane. So they were like, okay, that plane isn't going to actually work. We're going to have to just like fly this guy where he wants to go and just we'll have to keep the pilot on board. Like he's got to deal with this guy that has a bomb on the plane.
They just didn't know what to do
They
at
yeah,
that point.
and
They had no
so he
protocols.
took so at the end of the day they did fly him, but they had like all the FBI like agents that they had in that area were just waiting for him at like the other side of the airport, and they had like a bomb defusal squad, so they were gonna have a really safe way to like get the pilot off the plane and get him like and like make sure that they can like get a shot or something on him before he can like set the bomb off. Basically was what their plan was. But DB Cooper was smart and he got that parachute, and in the middle of the night he just opened like the back of the plane himself. He grabbed the money and he jumped out of the plane. When the plane landed, DB Cooper wasn't in the pilot didn't even really know. They had to like look through the black box to see when he had opened
Right.
like the back. Um and so they weren't even they tried to do a manhunt to see when like because they targeted the time that he jumped out, and they're like, okay, he would have been like flying at this time during the flight plan, and they never found him. They never found a body. They never found money or anything. So it's crazy. Like he jumped into a forest basically with a parachute. So it's possible that he lived, but the parachute in the middle of the dark is like impossible. But I always think that the best part of that story is that when they landed the plane, they brought in the bomb defusal squad, they opened the briefcase, and there was nothing in it.
They had nothing. Yeah.
DB Cooper was just an absolute savage. He was just like, nope. He didn't harm anybody. He just harmed their mental health, basically. That was the only harm
An
that was done. And he's just a
entrepreneur.
badass story of this dude who just got a lot of money and jumped out of an airplane into the abyss, and they never found his body. So some people say that that means he's alive, because people have still gone back into the areas that just love the story, and they're like, well, maybe we can find reminiscence of like the money that like fell out of the bags, maybe, or like maybe something from like his suit that he was wearing, because he was dressed really nice with like sunglasses and stuff like that. But other people say that yeah, no, he actually did successfully parachute and lived, and he might have been like ex-military or something, and he just had a grudge against the government. So that's what some people think it is. I think
Hmm.
I personally might favor that story just because I think it'd be way cooler if some dude just like was like this sick anti-hero who's like, wow, the government really doesn't care about like veteran soldiers at all. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna have them by the balls, and I'm just gonna run away with all this money to like California or Mexico.
And when was this again?
This was in like the 1960s, I'm pretty sure, like the
Right.
late 50s, early 60s, I think. So
Yeah, I mean, Mexico probably would have been the place to be.
yeah, American
Definitely,
dollars worth a lot more down there.
definitely could have gone away with it.
Or he could have just lived anywhere, really, if he just had other ways to identify himself. Or even then, you can kind of move into the middle of
Sure.
nowhere and not get questioned by anybody. That was still an option back then,
Yeah.
even. Yeah. So just kind of an
What
interesting
again?
story. That's more like once again Americana, just classic. That just seems to be like an actual movie,
All
but
of
it's
it.
a real story. I'm pretty sure they made a movie about it. I'm almost guaranteed.
Our country is full of interesting tales like that,
Oh yeah.
as we have proven.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I would pretty much say that what we said today was still part of American history. It's just not general American history like what we were talking
Hmm.
about earlier, but it's still interesting to tell stories
Not
like
what they
that.
teach you in school.
No,
This
no, which I
is
don't really
real
understand.
America.
What they try to teach you in school is just like a textbook that was approved by the government, which always makes you
Hmm.
wonder, what actual history was like, because history is always written by the victors at the end of the day. The victors and the liars. That's the people that write history.
Very true.
You
I
can
can be
tell
the
a
ones
lie,
in
and
the
100 years
country.
later, no one will know the difference.
Oh, that
No
happens
one will know the difference.
a million. Yeah, that.
So a
Yeah,
lot of these, so for all we know, a lot of these stories could be completely fake, which is the craziest part. Like a lot of these tales, a lot of the ways that they tell all these like Native American battles could have been completely different because they always try to get stories from both sides, but when one of the groups just gets completely killed off and the other's still alive, there's not a
there's
whole
to
lot you
know.
could do. It's kind of one-sided.
Yeah, yeah, like
That's what
that's
makes it
definitely
always
crazy.
kind of a mystery. Is once you go more than 100 years into the past, it kind of disappears. And once you go far, far deep enough down the rabbit hole, there aren't even records anymore that are written. And even further than that, there's not even human evidence that we were even there. Just
That's how you
people
end
that said
up
that we were
with
there, like
That's how
Troy.
you end up with a guy's name Beer in the record book.
True. I was saying something more like the city of Troy, but yeah, that too.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
beer. What a homie.
Yeah, shout out Beer. But yeah, I don't want to keep you crazy long into your
Oh no no
afternoon.
no no!
I,
This
I
was
have
this was a good talk. I think this is a good place to end it. I think we shared a lot of fun little neat stories today.
I know you're full of those neat, fun little stories, Alex.
Yeah,
So I
I'm a
knew
big fan of those.
I wanted to give you a chance to showcase your historical knowledge. As I said, you're a scholar and a gentleman.
Of course, of course.
So
I
yeah, I'll
look
let
like
you
the
get to
Monopoly guy.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.